Good evening. It is 7 o'clock. I would like to call the December 16th, 2014 regular session number 41 of the Raytown Board of Aldermen to order. As Mayor Pro Tem Steve Mock, I will be reserving my right to vote as Alderman of Ward 5 tonight. I would like to ask Mr. Bill Van Buskert to go to the podium tonight for the invocation. Okay. And then Troop 469 will be doing our opening ceremonies tonight after the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance also. Thank you.
Our Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to serve our community. We thank you for this community we live in and the great people that live and work here. And Father, we just pray that your blessing will be upon this community. And what a special time of year as we prepare to celebrate Christmas and other holidays together. We thank you for this time where we can come together in one spirit. Lord, we just pray that you give us wisdom tonight, the decisions we make, and we pray your blessings upon this meeting and your protection on our police officers and firemen and EMS as they serve, and all of our city employees and our public works people as they prepare to go out and battle the snow tomorrow, Father, and just be with them. It's in his name and through his power that we ask these things. Amen.
Okay, Troop 469, with Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Honor guard advance. About face. Honor guard advance. Honor guard, post colors. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor guard retreat.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Bill, thank you also, sir. Okay, at this time, I'd ask the city clerk to call roll.
Alderman Jason Green.
Here.
Alderman Van Buskert.
Here.
Alderman Josh Green.
Here.
Alderman Ertz.
Here.
Alderman Azier.
Here.
Alderman Mock.
Here.
Alderman Kramer.
Here.
Alderman Nelson.
Here.
Alderman Emerson.
Here.
Alderman Knight.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. At this time, I would like to open the floor to public comment. Anyone wanting to speak will be allowed 5 minutes. If someone is speaking for a group, 10 minutes will be allowed. I would like to remind everyone that there is a public hearing before us this evening, and if you want to make comments regarding that item, please do so during that public hearing. Okay? Do we have any sign-up sheets, Teresa, or anything? Or? There is none? Okay, we will go on. Okay, now we'd like to get if we could, a report from our Mahesh Sharma, our city administrator. Son, you're up. Is it okay, son? Son, is that all right? Good. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, Board of Aldermen. I have a few items to update you tonight. The municipal election filing began today. As of 5 o'clock, closing of the day, we have the following candidates who filed for the office. Mayor, 4-year term expiring April 2019. Pat Ertz and Mike McDonough. We have no filing for city clerk. Alderman 1 or Ward 1, Joe Kramer. Alderman Ward 2, Jim Ager and Chris Rathbone. Alderman Ward 3, Lisa Emerson. Alderman Ward 4, Mary Jane Van Busker. Alderman Ward 5, Barry Park and Eric T-Man. On the next item, I like to read a letter that I received from United Way. This year, city has a number of employees participated in United Way campaign. This letter was written to me. This year's United Way campaign highlighted the number of Kansas Cityans who live in poverty, who cannot read, who leave school not ready for a career, and who live in poor health. But here is another number for you, 35 million. On behalf of United Way of Greater Kansas City Board of Trustees and President CEO Brent Stewart, we would like to thank you and the employee of City of Raytown for helping raise more than 35 million to help address the issue of poverty, literacy, career readiness, and well-being throughout our community. And we couldn't have done it without you. Your investment in United Way will go to work immediately to change the numbers for our community. Helping more families break the cycle of poverty, more young children enter school ready and eager to learn, more young adults finish school and be prepared for the career of their choice, and everyone have access to high quality health care they need. Great things happen when we live united. Thank you again for your wonderful support. It is truly appreciated. Signed by Terry Bassam and Pat Duke. And again, this is a December. We are getting a lot of traffic for the tax filing, but it is more systematic, chaotic, and well. With that, I will conclude my report for tonight.
Okay, Mr. Sharma, thank you for that information. And now start the committee reports for this evening. And if there's any other issues or anything that, any other happenings that are in Raytown would discuss, we'd sure like to hear them tonight. Let's go ahead and start to my right. Josh Green.
Nothing really to report.
Okay. Mr. Kramer.
I really have nothing to report other than I want to thank whoever put the beautiful Christmas display on the front of this dais. Christmas is an important time of our past and our future, and I just want to thank them for doing a great job.
I'd say I didn't do it, but okay. Go ahead, Mr. Jason Green.
I just wanted to say the fire board meeting has been moved to Thursday, the 18th, 6:30.
Thank you.
Nothing to report from Mike.
Okay, Ms. Melson.
Just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and make sure to watch out when we do have those weather events that I'm sure we will be coming, is to watch out for your older adult neighbors and be sure to check on them.
And Ms. Janet.
The Human Relations Committee meeting will be this Thursday at 6 p.m. in the conference room. Also, mark your calendars for January the 18th at 3 p.m. because that's when the Martin Luther King celebration will be over at 56th and or 55th and Blue Ridge Cutoff at the Graceway Temple. That's all.
Okay. Mr. Pat Ertz. Thank you, Ms. Emerson.
Just like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Mr. Van Busker.
Thank you. I do have a short report from the Special Sales Tax Citizens Review Committee. We met this evening. prior to this meeting, and they put their blessings on a total of approximately $323,000 in spending. We had requests from EMS for approximately $27,000, requests from the police department for around $296,000. And if anyone would like specifics of where those monies will be spent, I would be more than happy to go over that with you. So just let me know, give me a call. And I also would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Thank you.
Mr. Lightfoot.
There's no legislative committee report today. I will say that the Chamber of Commerce Government Relations Committee is about ready to gear up for the year. Session will be taking effect again. I am no longer chair, as Alderman Josh Green is the new chair of the Government Relations Committee with the Chamber of Commerce. He's going to do a great job, and I think he's already started with some of their kickoff meetings. So these are open forums. They're great for the community to participate in. It's kind of a round table event, so everyone's always welcome.
And I would like to acknowledge the December 5th on the holiday lighting, to thank everybody for their involvement. All had a good time that night, and thank you again. One other thing is the Raytown Police had a awards ceremony this past Saturday, and in fact prayer breakfast also, and I'd like to thank them for that and congratulate the gentlemen, and or I should say the policemen and everyone that received awards that morning. So thanks again, and we will go on. I'd like to move into our legislative session. Okay. We have a consent agenda before us tonight. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Okay, I've got Ms. Melson.
I move that we accept the consent agenda for this evening.
I think I had a second with Mr. Ertz.
I second that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I'd like to ask the city clerk to please call roll.
Alderman Nelson.
Yes.
Alderman Ertz.
Yes.
Alderman Lightfoot.
Yes.
Alderman Van Busker.
Yes.
Alderman Emerson.
Yes.
Alderman Davis.
Yes.
Alderman Azier.
Yes.
Alderman Josh Green.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Locke.
Yes. And we have a quorum. Moving right along, I would like to ask our city clerk to read item number 2.
A resolution authorizing and approving the purchase of ammunition from Gulf State Distributor off the State of Missouri Law Enforcement Agency Cooperative Purchase Contract in excess of $15,000, but within budgeted amount for fiscal year 2014-2015.
Okay. All right, I see we have Doug Good sitting in for Chief Lynch tonight. Do you have any additional information to add, Mr. Good?
Based on buying bullets for training and getting use, we're looking at roughly $32,600 for
Okay, thank you. Would there be any discussion? And see, Mr. Kramer?
Second.
Okay. Mr. Ertz?
It hasn't been seconded, I'll second it, but if not we go to discussion, I'd just like to ask a question.
Okay. All right. Should we just stay with discussion?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, do we?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's see, we had a motion, Mr. Kramer, and Mr. Azier was a second. Okay. Shall I go into any further discussion? Okay. Mr. Ertz?
Yeah, I was just wondering, I take it you bid this every few years, or it seems that this company wins it regularly, if I'm
That's because they're on the state of Missouri.
That's great. So that's even a better way of doing it. So you're bidding as a state. Fantastic.
Mr. Van Busker?
You may have said this, but what was the approximate amount that we spent? 32. Okay, I thought you did, but I didn't quite hear it. Is that
Okay.
what you anticipate spending again this year? Has there been any increase in the amount?
Not so much the pricing, just the availability.
Thank you.
Okay. Ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Alderman Kramer?
Yes.
Alderman Ader?
Yeah.
Alderman Lightfoot?
Yes.
Alderman Van Busker?
Yes.
Alderman Ertz?
Yes.
Alderman Nelson?
Yes.
Alderman Emerson?
Yes.
Alderman Jason Green?
Yes.
Alderman Josh Green?
Yes.
Alderman Mock?
Yes.
A resolution authorizing and approving an annual maintenance agreement by and between the City of Raytown and Harris Computer Global Software for fiscal year 2014-2015 in an amount not to exceed $41,051.
Software, there are records management systems we had were installed in 2005. At the time of that implementation, 5 years support. Well, that plan expired in 2010. As a result, the plan now is an annual expense. This plan is critical to the department's function as the systems reflect just how we operate.
Okay, any discussion? Mr. Kramer?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Ms. Melson?
Is there a way, I know that you said in here that there, at one point, there was like a 5 years of support, and now it's on an annual basis. Is there any chance of getting it on another like 5 years, or are they just going with the annual?
They pretty much go to annual once you get, that's part of the package you get whenever you have the system installed.
Oh, okay.
Be automatic once you do on an annual basis. Because we add some back different things throughout the year. There may be certain packages that become available. It's like this last year, we entered into a life scan interface, which would not have been on the previous contract. So because of changing technology, we review it on an annual basis because we can give and take at the same way.
And so has this cost been increasing yearly?
A little bit, but it depends upon what we add.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We had a MEPS interface for the traffic system. We entered the live scan this year. So we end up adding different interfaces, and it goes up according to those interfaces.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Kramer?
Yes.
Alderman Nelson?
Yes.
Alderman Josh Green? Yes. Alderman Jason Green?
Yes.
Alderman Van Busker?
Yes.
Alderman Lightfoot?
Yes.
Alderman Azer?
Yes.
Alderman Emerson?
Yes.
Alderman Ertz?
Yes.
Alderman Mock?
Yes. Okay, I'd ask the clerk to please read item number 4, please.
A resolution authorizing and approving the repair services of wastewater and stormwater infrastructure in the city of Raytown, Missouri from Wiedemann, Inc., utilizing the City of Lee Summit, Missouri Cooperative Purchase Contract and approving project expenses for a sewer segment replacement between 7909 and 7919 Hedges Street, an amount not to exceed $61,608.
Okay, Mr. Melvin, do you have any additional information to add?
This particular line was discovered back in September. Repair. It's becoming older, it's becoming more critical, and we would really urge that we go forward.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do we have any discussion? Mr. Ertz?
Thank you. Does this price include hooking the services back up to the connection? Or is that
It does, yes.
So the city doesn't have to do anything? They're a full-service bid on this?
Yes, it is full service.
I appreciate that. I'd also make a motion to approve to move this along.
Second.
Okay. Green button, green button. We're getting them flashing all over the place. Okay, Mr. Azer? Okay. All right, we have a motion to approve. Mr. Ertz, second by Mr. Azier. Any further discussion? Do what? Oh, Mr. Lightfoot? Oh, the light just went off.
Thank you. So I'm curious, what is the length of this repair roughly? It's 7009 to 7919. I'm just trying to figure out what's the distance or the amount of this repair.
It's approximately 275 feet.
Just trying to understand, $61,000 is a lot of money for 200 feet, but I understand it's probably pretty extensive, has to get into the roadway and such.
It's being done as a pipe bursting repair, which is done all underground. They have to dig it up is at the connections. It's expensive to do, but it saves you money in the long run because of the restoration on the surface.
Yeah, I love the intent of the project, and I know what we've done this far. I just trying to get a grasp of the amount of repair on this one for that price. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lightfoot. Let's see, where were we? Let's see, it sounds like we need to go ahead and, I think we have, no, I think we just go to get a roll call from the clerk.
Alderman Ertz,
Yes.
Alderman Azier,
Yes.
Alderman Jason Green,
Yes.
Alderman Emerson,
Yes.
Alderman Kramer,
Yes.
Alderman Lightfoot,
Yes.
Alderman Josh Green,
Yes.
Alderman Denver,
Yes.
Alderman Nelson,
Yes.
Yes. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a public hearing to consider a conditional use permit for the property located at 8910 East 350. Okay. I'd ask the city clerk to perform the second reading on item 5.
An ordinance granting a conditional use permit subject to certain conditions to operate an auto repair business on property located at 8910 East Highway 350 in Raytown, Missouri.
Okay. Is there anyone on the board that would like to share in any ex parte communication at this time? Mr. Lightfoot?
I have had ex parte communication regarding this subject, but it will not affect my vote. I'll weigh all the facts on this vote.
Okay. All right. I'd like to ask the applicant, is the applicant here tonight? Okay. If they would like to address the board? Sir? Okay. This time is none? Okay. I'd like to go ahead and open the floor to public comment at this time. Any public comment at this time? None at this time. I'd like to close the public participation portion of this public hearing at this time. Okay, now we will go into discussion. Any discussion at this time?
Ask John for something. Ask John for anything he needs to say.
Yeah, as I said on here. Mr. Benson, do we have anything to add, sir?
I have nothing new to add since your last meeting on this when this application was first heard. Just one point in the staff report on the second page under budgetary impact. The second sentence there should say that the proposed business is anticipated to provide an increase in sales tax revenues to the city as opposed to it's not to. So, other than that, I'd be happy to answer any questions there are any.
Okay. Ms. Emerson.
Well, I did drive by there, and I saw that the trailer's already gone, and the property is being cleaned up. It looks very, very nice so far. So I think it will be a great asset to our community.
Yes, spoke with the applicant prior to the meeting tonight. They did remove the trailer since the last meeting that was on the property. They also planned, if approved tonight, they plan to submit their plans for the building addition and interior renovations to the existing building later this week, and anticipate to start a demolition on the front portion of the building within the next week as well. So we'll see if some immediate further work again pretty immediate.
And I would make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Ms. Emerson, second by Josh Green. We have any further discussion? Mr. Kramer.
Well, I would like to thank you for taking the time to invest in our Raytown community. It is a great community. Of course, the business that you're bringing to us is in my ward, and it's been an eyesore for quite some time. So I just thank you for coming in and cleaning it up and bringing a bright, shiny new business to our community.
Mr. Jason Green.
Yeah, I'd just like to wish you good luck. I obviously assuming this passes through, but after read additional information and hearing your presentation, I'd like to wish you the best of luck.
Mr. Josh Green.
Pretty much, as the other Ward 1 alderman, all I have to say is thank God that somebody's going to be tearing that building down. But really, I cannot echo the previous two aldermen enough. Good luck, and I hope that your business succeeds greatly here.
Anyone else? Mr. Van Buskert.
I do look forward to the new building there and the repairs on the old one and the added building you can add to it. I think it will be great enhancement to that corner and good for our city. It'll look good on 350 Highway. And I did notice you brought the trailer back to that. No, I'm just kidding. Got some looks on that. But I do wish you the best with your business.
Okay, Ms. Melson? Mr. Azier, excuse me.
Like the others, I am pleased to see the land being developed along 350 Highway with a new business. I do think it's important. I know that the Public Works has looked into the safety of that intersection. That's a tricky area. We did have one death on the opposite side of the road. So I don't know whether we monitor that even after a new business goes in. I do want to send that caution out. And I would also just like to mention to the proprietor, you know, even though we do appreciate business to come in, we've had others, and I think particularly in that kind of business, oftentimes the interior of it kind of is not attended to well. Old magazines and cups are left around, and I've seen this on similar businesses on 350 Highway that operate that way currently. I just would like to see whatever business opens on 350 Highway to remain a class act, you know, to keep the visibility of Raytown really looking sharp like it is in other communities.
Mr. Josh Green.
I just want to say that, no, I'm just glad a business is going in there, and I'm sure, you know, I'm not going to make assumptions that because of the type of business it is or anything like that, that it's going to be negatively run. I think that you have a great business plan. You provided a great presentation to us. You know what you're doing as a franchise owner, and I applaud the fact that you're spending your capital and your time and your investment in our city. And I thank you for that, and honestly, I cannot support you enough in this venture. And if there's anything that we can ever do as a board in terms of you're wanting to expand or anything like that, I implore you to make sure you come back up here, because there will always be people that want to help your business grow in this city.
Sounds like you make a good salesman. Okay. Sir, thank you. And I hope that trailer is long gone.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, at this time, I will ask for a roll call from our city clerk, please.
Alderman Emerson? Yes. Alderman Josh Green?
Yes.
Alderman Van Buskert?
Yes.
Alderman Lightfoot.
Yes.
Alderman Jason Green.
Yes.
Alderman Humphrey.
Yes.
Alderman Major.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Miller.
Yes.
Alderman Mock.
Yes. Okay. I think that would be it right now. That's what I was looking at. I will ask the clerk to read item 6.
A resolution approving a development agreement with H&H 350 LLC relating to improvements in the right-of-way of Lane Avenue.
Okay. Mr. Benson, do you have any additional information to add?
I do, thank you. This application relates to the conditional use permit that you just approved. As part of this agenda item, or as part of the previous application, rather, the applicant will be constructing improvements or has designed improvements along Lane Avenue, along the east side of the property. Those will involve some storm water improvements, which will change the drainage pattern along, or the conveyance system along that side of the street, and eventually we'll head to the east along the rear property lines on the east side of Lane Avenue, along the city's storm sewer system, which will need to be improved to continue to convey that water without causing issues on those property owners along that side of the road. Therefore, this is a development agreement that would allow, if approved, the applicant or owner of this property to place into escrow with the city the funds that he would otherwise expend for the construction of the stormwater improvements along Lane for a period of 5 years. That will give the time for the city to design the improvements that need to be made on the city system further to the east, and then as part of the construction of those improvements, we will then take the funds that are in escrow and construct the improvements along with the city improvements at the time the city makes our improvements. So the city, in effect, will use the applicant's money to make the improvements he otherwise would be constructing. So, and again, it's for a 5-year period. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, would there be any discussion? Mr. Lightfoot.
Yeah. So I think I understand what you said there. What's the amount that he'll have to put into escrow for that improvement?
I apologize. I don't know that off the top of my head.
I guess my point is, I applaud that the applicant's willing to do it. It seems like he's making such a capital investment here that a 5-year escrow is extensive for the tying up of what I'm guessing is thousands of dollars.
I don't have that dollar amount with me right here. I apologize. I believe it's in the ballpark, and the applicant may call more specifically, and I believe around $200,000, give or take, and I could be off on that number, but it's in that ballpark. The reason for 5 years is the funding the city needs to do the design, and then the construction is currently not budgeted. So we'll need to obtain that funding to put it in place, and then we need to go through a selection process for the engineer, to select the engineer to do the city's design. Once that's done, then obtain further funding for the construction of that. And just the timeline of doing that, and making sure we have the funding in place to do that.
So I guess I want to make sure the applicant totally accepts that. That just seems like quite an escrow amount to be tied up for 5 years on an investment like that.
Yeah, we have had discussions with them on that time period.
Okay.
Mr. Ertz?
No. Bill?
Or Mr. Van Busker?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mock. 5 years does seem like an extraordinarily long time, and I guess what we're really suggesting is it might be 5 years before the improvements are made to Lane Avenue. I have a real concern about that. We've needed to make improvements to Lane Avenue for years in the past. It needs improvement immediately. I don't think we need to wait any length of time, so it may be a situation where we need to find the money to make those improvements and get this done. I have real concerns about that. I drove by there through that intersection, drive through there quite frequently, just about every day, in fact, sometimes several times a day, and yesterday and today. And there's a lot of water setting right now on both sides of the street. When the temperature drops, it's going to turn to ice. We have a continuous problem there and have had for a long time. So I'm curious about this time frame. That really concerns me.
Let me clarify. It is not our intent, staff's intent, to wait 5 years to have those improvements constructed. It's just, it's currently not in this year's city budget. So we will look for the funding. If we can find it and come back to you later to amend the budget, we will do that. But because we don't have the funding in this year's budget for the design or the construction, we didn't want to assume that we would find it. Also, our Public Works Director position is currently open, as you know, so if we fill that position and as we work forward, then the design could take the better part of a year, and then do the construction phase, that when we anticipate we'll have to bid that out, and going through that bidding process. So very easily we could get to 3 to 4 years, and so that's how we ended up at the 5 years. We didn't, if we run into some unforeseen circumstances of having to acquire easements for construction, those things can extend that timeline out before we can actually do the construction. That's how we got to the 5 years. It's not city's intent or city staff's intent to wait to the 5-year period. If we can do it sooner than that, we absolutely will do that.
I think if it's anywhere close to that, I certainly have concerns about it. It should be a priority, certainly, and we need to do it in an expedient manner as we can, and because it's needed attention for a long time, and I think it just needs to be placed pretty high on our priorities of improvements we need to do on roadways. And but the way it's worded there, it certainly sounds like we're saying 5 years, and you're saying up to that, I suppose. So that's the part that I have concerns about.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Benson and I are putting together this agreement for you on behalf of the city. We're trying to maximize your flexibility because that escrow creates a deadline. Applicant normally make proceed and construct now is putting up the money because our system's not ready for it. There would be a problem if he installed it now and began dumping, there would be flooding. So it's excellent you have that attitude, Mr. Van Buskirk, because that's what we're going to need. The governing body's going to have to come back following staff recommendation and study. He'll set the priority for it, but we wanted to maximize your flexibility in that process. Anytime you would get it done before then can implement and use the money he's escrowed to try to complete the entire project. But also note to you that we on exhibit draft agreement, we changed the numbering of paragraph 9 into 8, correct the word resolution into ordinance. It'll be ordinance number 550914. The ordinance you just passed is what will be inserted in the final agreement that we will have Mr. Sharma execute, change paragraph number 10 into paragraph 9.
I thank you for the explanation. I appreciate that.
Okay, let's just move on down the line. Ms. Emerson,
Yes.
please.
I'm to understand that nothing's going to be done, that nothing's going to be done about it until the funding is available from the city?
On Lane Avenue only.
Yes, on the water that keeps pooling there.
That's correct. Because if the applicant were to make his improvements on his side of the street, that water then, where it ponds, as Alderman Van Buskirk alluded to, would be conveyed, and it would end up on the east side in the backyards where currently, and it would create flooding problems in the backyards of properties or another residential properties, and that would create a problem. We're trying to prevent that from happening. And
Well,
before those, when these improvements on the applicant's property or adjacent to the applicant's property occur, you have the downstream system place to continue to convey that water so it doesn't create that flooding on adjacent property.
Well, I know it's been a problem for a long time, and when it rains,
And that's our intent, is to resolve that problem that's currently occurring. You just don't want to relocate that problem from where it occurs today onto someone else's property. It's not currently occurring at. We're trying to avoid that from happening.
all right.
Mr. Azure?
Though I know, $200,000 seems like a lot for an applicant to place an escrow, I do think, I go back to what I said before, that corner is a very important corner because the amount of traffic that goes down that road in the morning specifically. Currently, I rarely ever see a car turn north on the lane, off 350 very often. Most of the time, it's going the opposite direction onto the highway. And it only makes sense to me that that corner be improved to the very best, to everybody's advantage, both for the safety of the drivers and even for the applicant, that it'd be very workable and safe for the people that'll be turning into his business. I think also, and I have a question regarding the stormwater, because currently there's a stormwater drain at that corner, at the very corner of that road, and it sits very deep in the road, which means if you actually drive over it, it really jars your car. So that tells me there must be a major stormwater problem on that particular corner, especially since people are telling us that even with that stormwater drain, it doesn't solve a problem. Because if we have standing water and you have a drain there, it's not going anywhere. So whatever the city does, what are your exact plans for stormwater, how to solve that problem at that intersection?
On the west side of Lane, curb and gutter will be put in with in storm sewer piping with inlets. And then generally at the northeast corner of the applicant's property, storm sewer line will go have to be constructed that will go under Lane Avenue and will continue east down basically the rear property lines of the properties on the north side of westbound 350, as well as the residential homes behind those properties, and it will extend right down those back property lines. I don't know the exact distance. I believe it's 300 feet, maybe could be a little bit more, could be a little less, to get to the city's existing storm sewer system or pipe system. That's further to the east, but right now down those back property lines, there's no drainage channel or no storm sewer system to convey that water. In fact, there's a shed in the rear of one of the backyards that is very close to the property line in that area, and some other things we have to work through, and that's part of the engineering design that needs to be done. And plus looking at easements, if we have to acquire easements, construct that, or if the easements are already there, that will allow for the construction question.
That's a pretty extensive change in the intersection. So, and I believe I'm correct, I remember correctly when I say that when he does his improvements, that corner will now have a curb on it?
Yes, on his side of the street, that is correct.
Right. So I'm wondering, I mean, with that deep storm drain that's sitting there now that creates almost a ditch in the street, how that's going to work with a new curb, I mean.
That's the storm sewer inlets and the storm sewer piping that will convey, instead of it being a ditch section road, it will now have storm sewer inlets and underground pipes that will convey the water. And it will be on a slope, so the water drains out of there. Will no longer pond.
So, when he builds his business, is that curb going to be put in at that time or later?
No, that's on Lane, that's part of this development agreement. We'll defer that construction until the city has our downstream stormwater system. And then the city will use the funds sitting in escrow and will construct the curbing and storm sewer as part of the city's project.
Okay, and that makes sense.
The applicant will make improvements on 350 highway along his frontage, Highway 350. So that portion of his property will be.
Okay, and I appreciate you explaining that. I do think that corner is important, and certainly for everybody's benefit, including the applicants. So I know sometimes our stormwater projects don't always work the way we'd like to see them work, and I think that's going to be a challenge to do that, especially by having seeing that, and see where water's standing today, even with what we have as a stormwater project. So it's going to be tough to do that, and
That's
I
actually
guess
what
I hate to say I wish you luck, but it's not going to be easy.
Well, and without the development agreement, if the applicant were to go ahead and we had him put in his improvements, stormwater improvements along Lane, that problem of the ponding water is going to just, it will no longer pond where it currently ponds, but someone living in that area on their residential home, all of a sudden is going to have a lot more water on their property that they've never had before, and it's going to create a problem.
Yeah.
And that's what we're wanting to avoid.
Right. And so, and that's probably why it's better that we do the project sooner than later. So thank you very much.
Yep. Well,
Okay, Mr. Kramer.
I do appreciate everybody's concern about that corner and the ponding water. It's been going on for quite some time. Of course, when we prioritize things like this, we prioritize by greatest impact. And up until now, it hadn't been a great impact. But now we've got somebody that wants to invest in that property, and it's going to take time in order to come up with the plans necessary to divert that water properly. It's not, it doesn't pond on just one side of the road, it ponds on both sides of the road. So to request him to immediately put in whatever improvements he would put in would be hasty in the fact that there's other issues other than the corner of his property. So I do want to express that I fully support him in his endeavor. I fully support our city staff as they research this and determine what it's going to take to properly disperse that water. So, with all that being said, I would make a motion to approve this.
Second.
Okay. All right.
Any question, Attorney?
Mr. Kramer has a motion to, excuse me. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Benson.
No, the attorney.
Oh.
I would like to request Melvin, I think, inform the board a little bit more accurately with respect to the escrow amount and perhaps.
Okay, Mr. Melvin?
The actual amount on the escrow is considerably less than 200,000. It's in the vicinity of about 25,000. Pardon me, the mic wasn't on. The amount of the escrow is not 200,000. It's more in the vicinity of about $25,000. That makes a considerable difference as to how much it's going to.
Yes, there is a considerable difference, no doubt. Okay, Mr. Josh Green and Mr. Kramer, you still have your light, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. I honestly, Alderman Kramer pretty much covered almost everything I wanted to say, but I did want to say, though, I'm glad that you guys are taking your due diligence and essentially you're going step by step on this, because I know that there are many stormwater and drainage issues in this city, and I would rather let's spend some time and spend some money and go for the long-term fix instead of making hasty decisions. So I just wanted to thank you guys for doing your due diligence.
Okay. Mr. Lightfoot.
Okay, back around to me. So I brought the first question, and I respect all these people's point of view, and I know there's a ponding problem, but that wasn't even what my question. I was worried about the guy having to put up 200 grand for 5 years. So back to the reason I raised the original point is I'm glad to hear that answer. 20,000 is significantly different than 200. I was worried about a small business guy's well-being. That's a lot of money you could do something else with. So thanks.
Okay. Anyone else? And I do have a question for Mr. Benson. Is there a collapsed stormwater inlet there on the northwest side by any chance?
I will have to defer to Mr. Melvin. I do not know
Okay,
that.
yeah, okay, please.
The inlet is not collapsed at the corner, but it is depressed. But it's still functioning. Water from that contributes to the problem to the north of there.
Okay, because I have drove by it, taking a look at it during, the high water time, taking a look, and I did not see that functioning too well, but if you guys might just take another look at that again, if there could be something, you might possibly fix that, if you would, please.
Certainly will.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this time, I know we had a motion and a second.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Kramer and Mr. Asia with the second. Okay, could I please ask clerk for a roll call, please?
Alderman Kramer?
Yes.
Alderman Asia?
Yes.
Alderman Emerson?
Yes.
Alderman Melson?
Yes.
Alderman Ertz?
Yes.
Alderman Jason Green?
Yes.
Alderman Josh Green?
Yes.
Alderman Van Buskirk?
Yes.
Alderman Lightfoot?
Yes.
Alderman Mock?
Yes. I'd like to thank you all for very good discussion on that item also. I would ask the clerk to read item number 7, please.
An ordinance authorizing and approving an intergovernmental agreement with the Jackson County Board of Election Commissioners during the 2015 calendar year.
Ms. Henry, do you have any additional information to add?
I have nothing to add at this time. This is a contract that comes before us every year so that they can use our facility. Each time they do use our facility, $8.
Okay. See, the button's just lit up. Okay. It appears Mr. Joe Kramer. Any discussion? I'm sorry. Mr. Joe Kramer?
I'll make a motion to approve. First.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Asia, was that a point of order?
Mr. Van Buskirk.
I would like to make a motion that we suspend the rules for a second reading of the ordinance.
Mr. Hertz.
I would second that motion.
Okay. I have a motion to suspend the rules by Mr. Van Buskirk and a second by Mr. Hertz. You guys are funny. Play with their little green buttons. Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay. Will we please ask the clerk to call the roll?
I do have a question.
Okay. All right, sir, we'll stand.
Is it necessary that we finish this by the end of the year?
Yes, it is. It's for the 2015 calendar.
Okay. That's one. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Is that it? Okay. Same question. Okay. Okay, I'd like to ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Alderman Van Buskirk?
Yes.
Alderman Ertz?
Yes.
Alderman Jason Green?
Yes.
Alderman Emerson?
Yes.
Alderman Josh Green?
Yes.
Alderman Melton?
Yes.
Alderman Asia?
Yes.
Alderman Kramer?
Yes.
Alderman Lightfoot?
Yes.
Alderman Mock?
Yes. Okay. Well, before we adjourn tonight, I would like... Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Now we got to go over and read it a second time. Yeah.
You just have to ask her to read it again.
Okay, would you read it again, please, Teresa?
An ordinance authorizing and approving an intergovernmental agreement with the Jackson County Board of Election Commissioners to utilize City Hall as a polling place in BR 14 and BR 15 during the 2015 calendar year.
Okay, any discussion? Ms. Emerson?
Second.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Emerson, second by Mr. Kramer tonight. Ms. Melson? Any discussion? Light is on. Or Mr. Hayes, your light is on. Good, okay. Okay. Now we need to go to the roll call.
Alderman Emerson,
Yes.
Alderman Kramer,
Yes.
Alderman Josh Green. Yes. Alderman Lightfoot,
Yes.
Alderman Nelson,
Yes.
Alderman Jason Green,
Yes.
Alderman Van Busker,
Yes.
Alderman Major,
Yes.
Alderman Murphy,
Yes.
Alderman Moss,
Yes. Okay, before we go into adjournment tonight, I know all of us from the Board of Aldermen, know our mayor, and all of you would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas tonight, and to all of Raytown, a Merry Christmas also, and I'd like to go into adjournment. I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay. Motion made by Ms. Melson, and second was Mr. Josh Green. We won't even press buttons tonight on that one, guys. Okay, all in favor, state A. Opposed, same sign. Oh, man. Okay. Thanks for bearing with us tonight. Good night.